Welcome back to Hannity. So the New York Times article about Donald Trump's past relationships with women, it continues to unravel today. Now, yesterday, Trump's ex said that her comments were spun in an attempt to make Donald Trump look bad. And tonight, Miss California USA 2009, Carrie Prejean Bowler is speaking out about how the Times used a small passage from her memoir to further their attack. Carrie Prejean Bowler joins us now. Carrie, good to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you, Sean. Good, thank you.
I spoke to you earlier today. You were pretty mad, and I want you to explain how you got in this piece, because you said to them, "I have nothing bad to say about Donald Trump," when they called you.
Yeah, back in March, when they started this whole campaign against him, several reporters had reached out to me and asked to interview me, and I said that I really had nothing to say to them, and they weren't going to get anything out of me, negatively about Donald Trump, and they weren't really happy with that. And so I basically, wouldn't give them a story, and now they came out with their own version of it and took, something out of my book and just totally twisted it and made it so negative. And I have nothing but positive things to say about Donald Trump, and that's kind of why I came on your show today, was because I was fed up, Sean. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of like the New York Times. That's just one example of how they just like to twist things, and they want to put words in people's mouths, and you know what, I'm not going to put up with it anymore, and it's time that they hear the truth.
They pulled out a section of your book which they tried to attempt to use to make him look bad, and you said to me, why didn't they go 2 sentences further? What would have happened if they went to 2 sentences further?
Well, if they actually would have read my entire book, they would have overall seen that I have nothing but admiration and respect for Donald Trump. I mean, he helped me tremendously. So they really weren't doing their job right. I mean, honestly, they took a little part of what happened at the beauty pageant. I mean, let's put it in context here, Sean. This was a beauty contest. I mean, they're making a big deal that he walked across the stage and was looking at us. Are you kidding me? Like, that's just ridiculous. I mean, they want to make it seem like he degrades women, and you know what? He was the owner of the Miss Universe organization for a long time, and he's helped thousands of women, and I happen to be one of them. And he gives so many women platforms. He gives them careers. He helps women tremendously, and I have nothing but respect for him. And he's done nothing but help me. He helped me write my book. He after the pageant was over, he said, "Anything you want, Carrie, I want to help you in your career." And, he really stuck up for me and had my back.
You know what the real question is? And I want to give you a full chance to answer this, because this is so devious what they're doing here. I now have interviewed you. We interviewed the woman that I just mentioned about just moments ago, Roanne Brewer Lane, and I interviewed another woman who was a project manager for him, who became a vice president and sold hundreds of millions of dollars in condos. She was a survivor of the war in Bosnia. What was it really like with Donald Trump? What was your experience like with him? What would you want to tell women that are being told by the New York Times and others that he's one way when in fact you say he's not? What is he really like?
He genuinely wants to help people. I mean, men, women, everyone. I mean, I just happen to be in the beauty pageant world, and he helps so many women, like I said, with their careers, and he really, he stood up for me at a time where it wasn't really popular to stand up for a woman like me. I mean, I came out and said something pretty controversial, I guess, according to the left. I mean, I don't think it was that controversial, saying marriage should be between a man and a woman, but, and he stuck up for me. And I really admire that about him. He didn't need to do that, and he went out on a limb, and that shows you what type of man he is.
And then he stepped up and he tried to help you after. How did he try and help you?
Oh yeah, when I was sitting in his office after this whole thing happened, and he said, "Carrie, whatever you want to do, I want to make happen." And he was making phone calls right then and there in his office, and he said, "You're a great girl, Carrie, and I just want to help you out." And he did not need to do that. And I'm a very loyal person, and I would not come on here and be talking about him if I did not think highly of him. And so I owe a lot to Donald Trump, actually. I really do.
And I can take from that you're going to be voting for him.
Well, absolutely. Make America great again, right?
Yeah. But you know what? I remember that time. There weren't a lot of people that stood up for you. That was a pretty hard time. And you very courageously, stood by your values. I thought you were treated very unfairly at the time. Okay, so I have the same view as you do. And
Yeah.
I remember interviewing you at the time, and there were a lot of people really hammering away, and he kind of stood up for your right to stand on your opinion, which I think we should have more people be willing to do that. So.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Trump is he speaks his mind and he's not afraid of anybody, and I really admire that about him.
All right, Kerry, good to see you again. Welcome back, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
And coming up, the Democratic primary in Kentucky is still too close to call tonight. So why can't Hillary seal the deal and knock off the 74-year-old angry socialist communist curmudgeon from Vermont? Anyway, Eric Bolling, Geraldo Rivera, Judge Jeanine will be here. And then later, voting ends in Oregon right at the top of the hour. We'll have more reaction live on Hannity as we continue. Bernie Sanders vowing that he'll be at the Democratic convention in July with more delegates than Hillary Clinton. So could the self-proclaimed socialist actually win the nomination at this point? And why can't Hillary put this away? Right now, the Democratic primary in Kentucky tonight is too close to call. Voting ends in Oregon at the top of the hour. Joining us now with reaction, the co-host of the hit show The Five, Eric Bolling, Fox News senior correspondent Geraldo Rivera, and Justice with Judge Jeanine, the highest-rated show on the weekend. Good to see you all. All right, here's the amazing thing. So I actually feel sorry for the curmudgeon. I feel sorry for the socialist because he wins West Virginia 51-36. No, pay attention. 51-36. All right, so he's up 18 delegates to 11. Then you add in the super delegates, and then he walks away with 19, and she walks away with 18. If I'm a Bernie supporter, I feel I'm getting ripped off.
Well, I think there should be a standardized delegate accumulation primary in both parties. There should be a national primary. Get it over with. Get it done mathematically. None of this
No. I like to stretch it out for ratings purposes.
Well, you can stretch it out, but just have one rule fits all. I don't like the way this happens. I will say this. I was quoted with a hot mic last week calling him annoying, which I do believe that he is annoying. But give him credit. He has ignited a movement. It is real. A lot of it is based on free stuff, but there is no denying that he has stirred emotions, and there is the numbers don't lie.
Judge?
Look, the superdelegates, all of this is all about the establishment taking care of itself. And that's what we're seeing. That's why we're seeing the outsiders coming in, and America's saying, we hate everybody in Washington. We're fed up with it. We don't care if it's a socialist or a businessman. This is what we want. And truly, that Hillary Clinton can't close the deal because she is establishment. She is someone who's under investigation. And people may say, I don't care about the emails. Well, this week the civil case is going forward, and Nevada is a perfect.
But it's deeper than that, isn't it? That she's unlikable. She doesn't have the warmth of her husband or the oratory skills of. All right, wrong person to ask, right?
She can't put him away because she's a flawed candidate. No, she's not likable. She can say, you know, my husband's going to take care of the economy. She can try and dish it out. She's just not likable. Remember when they said you have to be nicer? We have to go with more humor. Remember humility and humor? She tried that for a while, but she comes back with a barking like the dog. And she's just a terrible candidate. And can I just point something out?
I was going to remind you. I didn't know where you were going there.
No. Remember, she's like,
I know what you're talking about.
So, but the reason why Donald Trump has locked down this nomination this quickly is because in 2012, Mitt Romney pushed all those states to winner take all or winner take most. They pushed them forward so you can get to a candidate sooner. Little did they know it was going to be the candidate that they all hated and didn't want.
So then the next
non-establishment
question is, why don't Republican establishment people embrace the new people that they've been saying for years that they want to attract to the party? This has been a record year. You got Paul Ryan. Oh, he doesn't know where Donald Trump stands on the positions at this point?
But that's because the establishment is invested in itself, and they work together, Democrats and Republicans. It's not about us. It's not about the person who has more votes than any other Republican primary candidate in presidential history. It's about the establishment, whether it's Paul Ryan or any of the Democrats saying, you know what, we got this nice system. You take care of me, I take care of you. We pass the same budget, and we get richer by the day.
Donald Trump, I think, is going to bring over every conservative when he releases the names, the pool of names that he'll select Supreme Court justices from. Because if I'm, as a conservative, Geraldo, that's issue 1, 2, and 3, and the wall is 4, and eliminating Obamacare is 5, and energy independence is 6.
I mentioned that Sanders had given birth to a movement. Clearly, Donald Trump gave birth to a movement also. There is a movement. It is more than a political primary campaign. It is a movement.
Are you endorsing him?
You keep asking me. It's too soon for me to tell.
No, it's not.
I have real policy differences with Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump.
I love differences with Hillary?
I do.
Could you vote for her over him? No way.
But I could stay home. That's what I could do.
That does.
But let me.
I'm going to drag you out of your bed and pull you to the voting booth.
The difference between Sanders and Trump is, as Eric suggests, there was a process. Trump won, and now they can do nothing about it because he is, under their own rules, the presumptive nominee. Hillary now is not yet that, but Sanders sees the writing on the wall. He has to decide whether he cares more about his ego, than he does his party and his country.
Did you happen to see that poll that came out today? NBC put out a poll today. Had Hillary Clinton 3 points ahead of Donald Trump. That's within the margin of error.
2 points in the Gravis.
More importantly, though, inside that, the internals, women broke for 3% of them broke towards Trump from before. So she went from tightening that. And the most important of all, independents broke for Trump 44% to 36% Hillary Clinton.
Right.
If you do that,
I'm going to buy you a whiteboard. You're getting that.
I love numbers. I love the numbers.
What happens, though, when the Democrats begin to amp up the attacks on Donald Trump? You saw them today with the women and mouthing the words of what Donald Trump, the candidate,
you know who
said.
wins the women battle, the gender war, ad war? It's going to be Trump over the Clintons.
How do you figure?
Because the Clinton Foundation pays women 38% less than men.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's record with women is atrocious. She takes money from Saudi Arabia. Are you kidding?
I haven't seen. Those are good, but I haven't seen any poll that indicates that the gender gap is closing.
They haven't run the ads yet.
Look, today.
And you know what? Donald hasn't even started yet.
You're right.
Today, NBC put out an NBC poll today, had it closing by 3 or 4%.
McLaughlin had it go up. His unfavorables go down 9 and hers up 3.
And you know what Donald himself said? I haven't started. Wait till he starts.
Yeah, that's going to be.
It's going to be
a hell of a year. All right. Don't forget, by the way, Eric is coming up tonight, and the rest of our friends at the 5 tonight at midnight with reaction to tonight's primary. We may actually have Oregon in your hour, so we'll be watching. Excellent. Democratic race in Kentucky still too close to call. Hillary's an awful candidate. Voting ends in Oregon at the top of the hour. Up next, Tucker, Doug Schoen, Peter Johnson, Tucker Carlson, former Clinton pollster, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen, and Fox News legal analyst Peter Johnson Jr. All right, we've talked a lot tonight about Hillary. She can't close the deal. Let's go back to Donald Trump. Peter, who would be a good VP for Donald Trump?
I think a great choice would be Newt Gingrich. He would bring tremendous stability, tremendous gravitas, incredible intellect, judgment, the experience over many decades in American government.
He'll get it done.
No one understands history of government better than Newt Gingrich. Would be a dynamite ticket, in my view. Dynamite.
By the way, Hillary Clinton right now, this just broke moments ago, is declaring herself the winner of the Democratic primary.
She probably did win, Sean. This is, a narrow victory.
In Kentucky.
And given the pre-election polls, she was doing pretty well in Oregon, so this will probably be a relatively good night for her.
What about, who do you like for VP? Do you like Elizabeth Warren, the Native American? Or?
No, I like Sherrod Brown.
You do like Sherrod Brown?
Because he's a leftist, Ohio.
Boring, dull.
She needs to win Ohio. She needs to placate the left. No. She can't go with Bernie. She can't go with Elizabeth Warren. That's got to be her play.
You don't think she'd pick Elizabeth or Bernie?
Only if she has to, Sean.
She doesn't want to.
She does. No, I know her well enough to know that's the last thing she wants to do.
I agree with you on that. Tucker, who do you think on the Republican side? Who do you think Hillary will pick on the Democratic side?
Well, the Republicans, why are people voting for Trump? They're voting for him because they agree with him on a couple of key issues, immigration and trade at the top of the list. Who's a better or more articulate spokesman for those views than Jeff Sessions of Alabama? Not the most charismatic guy, but certainly I think he's the smartest guy, one of the smartest people in the Senate anyway. That'd probably be a solid choice. And on the Democratic side, she'll pick whoever Bernie Sanders tells her to pick. He's totally in control of the process.
You think Bernie's going to be able to dictate that? Wouldn't he pick himself?
Are you kidding? He's won 21 states. He's not going to win the nomination. She has it in the bag. She's got 3 million more votes than all the delegates. But he's won the moral victory. He's defined the terms of the debate from day one. The idea that he's going to be satisfied with rewriting the Democratic platform, who cares? No, he wants real power, and why wouldn't he? He deserves it. He's going to pick the VP for sure. I think
that's interesting, but I would think he'd want to pick himself, Peter.
I think, I could see a situation, and Doug and I were talking about this. He didn't agree with me totally on it, but where he would force himself into that position. In my view, that would be the fatal flaw for Hillary Clinton, because the notion of a socialist vice president within steps of the presidency would send a chill through the heart of most Americans.
I think Tucker's onto something. Bernie Sanders, outside the process in the Senate, is ultimately the most powerful man. He doesn't want to be vice president because he's effectively going to be marginalized if that happens.
Would he push Warren?
Oh, he's going to push whoever he thinks is going to do his bidding. Problem is Warren hasn't endorsed him. So I got to believe there's a little enmity there, notwithstanding their ideological convergence.
I want to go to the idea that I brought up with Donald Jr. tonight, Tucker, and that is a team of rivals, not just announcing a VP, but finding a place for Rick Perry and Rudy Giuliani and Chris Christie and Bobby Jindal, maybe Nikki Haley, Scott Walker, and have sort of like a dream team and announce it either at the convention or thereafter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's possible. Not all of those are rivals. I mean, a lot of those people are pretty sympathetic to Trump. I mean, I think the problem for Trump is, can he trust those people? I mean, his circle's very small, as you note. I still believe to this day his daughter, Ivanka, is his closest advisor. Is he going to have the ability to really trust them? I don't know the answer to that, but I think that's the chief stumbling block for sure.
Do you like that idea? And I ran through a list of what I thought 10 items, a new contract or Donald Trump's promises to make America great and put it in writing and let congressmen and candidates and senators and Senate candidates run with them?
Oh, I think a contract is something the American people need because that's what's been missing. The compact, the contract,
the trust,
the agreement to perform the promise. And so keeping the promise that consistent with the team of rivals, do what Lincoln did, as you're saying, take his top 3 rivals, put them in the cabinet, make them part of a government going forward. Whoever can do the job. Cruz is a capable man. Yeah. Absolutely.
He should be a Supreme Court judge.
It would be brilliant.
There's one name you didn't mention. Who I think is of great importance, John Bolton. We need a Secretary of State who is unabashedly tough on his...
You'd support him? You think you'd be good?
He's a dear friend of mine. This isn't partisanship. Wow. Islamic fascism has nothing to do with ideology or party. Vladimir Putin, the Chinese, they're out to destroy us. We have to fight back. Bolton's about
That's a brilliant idea.
All right, guys, good to see you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Tucker, thank you. And coming up, voting is about to end. We are 4 minutes and 38 seconds away from Oregon and the polls closing. Right now, the Democratic primary